West. The Dodgers still have the best record in Major League Baseball at 56-31. On the first day of free agency in the NBA, the Lakers did not waste any time to rebuild their roster after being kicked to the curb by LeBron. The Lakers made a trade for Utah's 7-foot center Walker Kessler and signed 3 veteran forwards as free agents. As for LeBron, NBA sources claim the 23-year veteran is going to take his time before deciding on his new team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. The headline in the newspaper read, Black leaders join forces to bring Destination Crenshaw toward the finish line. Now, beyond the headline phraseology of toward the finish line, if you actually read the article, it said that Black-owned contractors are now being mobilized, major new financing is being secured, and it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. That statement has more hedges than a Beverly Hills mansion, more hedges than a nervous groom's wedding vows written by a divorce lawyer. But it's funny how progress starts moving once somebody turns on a microphone. 4 weeks of KBLA editorials and suddenly everyone has found their hard hats. It's amazing what happens when the community starts asking questions out loud, and this is why Black media matters. We don't need more empty promises. We need a finished project. Political accountability to Black fellow citizens means that elected officials and institutions must answer for their actions or inaction in ways that are real, measurable, and consequential when they fail to follow through. I suppose the good news here is that LA City Council President and 8th District Representative Marquise Harris Dawson is now officially on the record. But to be clear, he's also on the clock. Remember now, it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. We shall see. We have exercised our right to free speech, but there are other rights the Black business community can exercise as well. This is a classic example of a public nuisance claim if ever there was one. Again, we shall see. What I can tell you is that Black business owners and Crenshaw community residents have been calling, emailing, and literally showing up in our lobby demanding more and asking how they can sign on to this effort. Put simply, after years of delay, the people have had enough. My big mama put it this way: once a task you have first begun, never finish until it is done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. Now, I need to put on my hard hat, go outside, and wait for these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews to show up. I'll let you know if and when they do. Trust and believe. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
I'm the shapes keeping it live and keeping it hot. When you pump inside, don't look in the west side. What? Bring it on.
Look for me, lost in the whirlwind. 96 Bonnie and Clyde, me and my girlfriend. Doing 85 when we ride, trapping this world of sin. Born as a ghetto child, raised in this whirlwind. Come on, our childhood years, recalling tears, heart laced with venom. Smoking shirt, drinking malt liquor, Father forgive her. Me and my girlfriend, bustin', fell in love with the struggle. Hands on the steering wheel, clutch, watch me bail out, bustin'. Come on, watch the phone screaming. Automatic gunfire, exercising all demons. My mafioso on the side, my congregation high, ready to die. We bail out to take the jail back. She is unite, our first date. Couldn't wait to see you naked. Touch you in every secret place. I can hardly wait to bust freely. Got you wearing hot. You so happy to see me. Make the front page, prime time, live on TV. Look at my girlfriend, maybe 45, but she still live. One shot, making niggas heartbeat stop.
What? I'm busting on you, punk. We can take run. We can run. I'm on your ass. We can take run. You can jump in high. When I'm busting on you, it's run. You can hear. West side. Side. We can die.
My girlfriend, blocking in the darkest night. When tickets at, she got the heart to fight.
KBLA Talk 1580. That one's for you, Jaaye. Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is joining us. He's a 2A advocate, an abolitionist, born and raised in L.A. He's a lawyer, obviously a graduate of Hampton University, Howard University School of Law, practices mainly criminal defense and civil rights. Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks for coming on. My. Our Supreme Court has been busy. We could talk about a lot of things, but I know that gun rights is near and dear to your heart. So I figured we can unpack these rulings a little at a time and see what does it mean to the everyday person, what does it mean to the Constitution, and the future of this country. So Thursday, the U.S. SCOTUS struck down a law from Hawaii that required gun owners to get permission before bringing their firearms into private stores and other businesses that are open to the public. So in other words, even if it's a privately owned space, if it's open to the public, Supreme Court says you don't need anybody's permission to bring your gun in there. It's a 6-3 ruling. They sided with the gun rights advocates who said Hawaii has had undermined the Second Amendment by saying that you just can't bring your guns into grocery stores, restaurants, and parking lots without getting permission. What does it mean?
Well, what it means, first and foremost, is the businesses can still prohibit guns. They just can't do it on a basis of you need my permission to come in. It just has to be, nobody can bring guns in this business. If you see some of the old Western movies, when people walked in and they had to check their guns like people check coats in New York in the wintertime. So systems like that are still able. But when you think about it, if we're being realistic, right, the same, if that law is applied, you can bring it in only with permission from the owner. Think about how black people, especially young black men, are treated when there's like dress codes at restaurants and things like that. Like you see a group of white guys sitting at the table in shorts and T-shirts, and then the black guy comes in and they're like, oh, you're not in the dress code. Yeah. And so the same thing would have happened with firearms significantly. And so one thing, it's firearms and the Second Amendment isn't just near and dear to my heart, it's near and dear to the cause of black liberation in the United States. Like that is what Juneteenth was all about. Black soldiers rolled in to Galveston, Texas with firearms to free their people. And without those firearms, there would have never been the freedom of their people. And so I think it's high time for the black community specifically to reestablish their connection with the Second Amendment that had been lost over the last, I say, 40, 50 years, or even 60 years since the promotion of the nonviolent doctrine, which was a political strategy of Dr. King and those that supported it, but that's not the end-all, be-all. And the history of us gaining freedom in this nation is fully and wholly connected to us being able to have and possess firearms.
Well, I kind of think, KBLA did a survey about public safety, and obviously we mostly surveyed black people because that's who listens mostly to this station. And what we found is that we have contradictory views, right? On the one hand, people say we got too many police and the police are not trusted. On the other hand, they want more public safety, which may or may not mean police. And I think that same kind of duality is present when it comes to, at least in my experience, black American communities and firearms. Because, yes, a lot of people believe the nonviolent doctrine of Dr. Martin Luther King and we're supporters of peace, as I am, but also believe in self-defense. Ida B. Wells is one of my heroes because when the Klan shot, she shot back. And I think a lot of us feel that way. It's just not widely discussed. And I don't know that politicians clock it. I know that if you go around the community and ask people, that's what they're going to tell you. I have a right to defend myself. Yes, I own a weapon. But I don't know that politicians clock that, because what they are dealing with is the results of gun violence and the anger around, violence, but police violence, school violence in schools, and community violence as well.
Yeah, and I agree that they go off that, but I also agree that those numbers are they're like false flags. They're red herrings. When we talk about school shootings, we're talking about since Columbine. I think there's been like maybe 300-400 people killed in school shootings total, university, from elementary to university. And Columbine was in the 90s. So we're talking the last 30 years, right? Every year there's millions and millions of students. Every year there's more millions of students starting school. And so when we look at the numbers, it's not like a true safety thing. It's a possibility, but it's not. When we're talking like 0.00001% chance, that is not a probability or even a likely possibility.
Well,
And so
yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to
things.
argue about whether or not we should be worried about school shootings. I mean, one is too many. Kids shouldn't have to be doing shooter drills at school. It's ridiculous. I don't. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's a numbers game. I think that people shouldn't be getting shot dead in school. It's also not our kids for the most part, and that's understood. The only reason I bring it up is because it creates an environment where politicians are saying we have to do something. I mean, these mass shootings do seem to happen every week, not at schools and other places. But that's what I'm just responding to. Why, when you say, well, black people have this anti-violence attitude or anti-gun attitude, I don't know that that's true. I think that politicians think it's true because they're responding to crises. But I think if you talk to individuals in the community, a lot own weapons.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. And we are in California, right? This is a totally different conversation in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia,
Yeah, fair enough.
Florida, and Texas.
Although
And
maybe
so
not as different as
when
some people think, because hella people in California that I know have legal weapons in their homes.
Yeah.
Black people.
Yeah, and what I think is high time for the black community to do, maybe KBLA does a forum on the Second Amendment, how to lawfully own firearms, how to lawfully store firearms. I just heard a story about a 10-year-old charged with murder because the firearm wasn't stored lawfully.
Yeah, gun
and that's
safety
the kind
has
of
to
things
be.
we need to have.
That has to be.
but
Well, you
not
and I can talk
just
about that off the
restricted.
air. Definitely, let's talk about it. I'm open to something like that for sure. But
Hey,
you're
me too.
responding to Hawaii, and you're saying that
Yeah.
it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, or as rescue me if I'm wrong, as Tavis would say, that it is not as sweeping a ruling as it is being reported, because if you, as a private business owner, you can give a blanket ban on guns in your business. You just can't ask individuals to get permission.
Yeah, that's what it is, and that's important because now you're giving this person, Target is open to the public, right? Now, I walk in, Target says you can't have a gun, but you can have a gun. That's not fair to me, and that's not allowing me to protect myself. Should the person they allow to have a gun be my enemy, and I'm not allowed to.
So, but Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote that the decision was actually contorting the Second Amendment, was actually stretching it to give it a broader sweep than it's merited according to the way that it's written in the Constitution. She says there's no right to carry a gun onto private property without consent, and the Constitution does not dictate the form of consent that is required.
But I understand that argument, but the ruling allows for that as far as consent. If the business allows you to have your firearm with you, then that is consent. And the thing is to allow a business engaged in interstate commerce, which gives, the federal government authority to regulate, it needs to be open to all people. And that is the problem. If it's not, then we're going to have all kind of problems.
Right, we end up being the
And
unarmed ones, and we know who gets to carry the weapons. I mean, there's definitely a clear pattern there. Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is my guest. Look, we've got a couple more rulings, one coming up and then another that's already happened, and we want to unbox what the new rules are about guns in America. According to SCOTUS, we'll continue this tract when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real knowing us. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Let's do this.
We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your health care, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen, a lot will change, but one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Jam-packed day today. Dr. Gerald Horn is joining us next hour. We're going to talk America's 250th birthday through his considerable scholarly Black history lens. Absolutely looking forward to that conversation and this one as well. Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is with us. You can find him at Lincoln Lawyer LA on the socials. And you can find him with the 100 Black Men. You can find him in court. And thankfully, you can find him around here. So the Supreme Court unanimously limited the use of a gun law that was actually used to prosecute Hunter Biden. It didn't affect Biden because he was pardoned by his dad. But this is brought by a Texas guy who told FBI agents that he smoked weed a few times a week and that he owned a legally purchased gun. He was indicted under the Federal Gun Control Act, which makes it a crime punishable by 15 years in prison for anyone who uses illegal drugs to have a gun, even if it's legally purchased. That gun. The Supreme Court sided with the weed smoker. Break this down.
Yes. So, just to be clear, the federal law prohibiting illicit drug users from possessing firearms is still in play. It's the enforcement that it was tailored. It's not broad. You smoke weed, you can't have a gun. Once again, this is highly affecting our community. Not just our community. I know, Snoop Dogg and others are the face of marijuana, but definitely the vast majority of marijuana smokers are not Black in the United States of America.
Yeah, true.
But the point is, you need to show that this person is not capable of owning a firearm, or it's unsafe for this person based on some factor, including their drug use, but beyond that. Their drug use does this to them, and that's why they can't possess the firearm. Because, it really doesn't make sense, right? If when we're talking about the effects of marijuana versus the effects of alcohol, and which leads the vast majority of people closer to anger and violence than the other, but it's legal for us to go get a 6-pack or a fifth of our favorite hard liquor and legally possess our firearms. But if we choose to ingest marijuana at the end of our day just to soothe us, now we can't possess a firearm.
I mean, it's a fair point because you're way more likely to get in a gunfight drunk than you are high on weed. I mean, that's back to common sense, but I don't expect the Supreme Court to take that into consideration, but it seems like they did, because what I'm reading is that if you use other drugs, you may likely still, as you kind of just were explaining, Attorney Person-Lynn, you may still lose your right to have a gun, a legal gun, right? If you're doing coke or meth or who knows what else, and from what I'm reading, Justice Gorsuch even said that because everyone's smoking weed. I mean, that's kind of, he didn't say it in those words, but more or less.
Yeah, as we're approaching a place where I believe I believe in the next 10 years, maybe 5, that the majority, if we're not there yet, of states will have lawful recreational use for marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, 40 states have some kind of use, recreational or medical. So that's 40. And I think you're right. I don't think we're at the majority for recreational yet. But if it's legal in some form for 40 states, I mean, that's pretty close to being legal.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we look at the states where it's not legal in any form, they're going to make up a very small percentage of the population of the nation. And so it's really, unfair to ban, so many Americans from their Second Amendment right because of their marijuana use. And so that's what that issue was tailored for, not that, we about to be passing out guns to crackheads. That's not what it's about.
Or that drug dealers can carry weapons. It doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
The true drug dealer that doesn't get high on their own supply wouldn't even be affected by that statute.
You mean the pharmaceutical companies? Anyway. Oh, you mean the real old-fashioned drug dealer, right? I thought you meant the pharmaceutical companies, right?
Yeah. So, but there are other drugs, and it's crazy, right, because it's like the illegal ones when there's plenty legal drugs, alcohol and all kind of Adderall and other things that do hype you up and get you riled up for, you might need them for whatever reason you need them for, but they're legal. And if you do those, there's no ban. But if you do others, there is. And that's, I think the fact that it was unanimous, I think is something for people to look at. That's rare on this court. I'm usually seeing 6-3, and we always know who the 3 are, and we always know who the 6 are. But for it to be unanimous, I think that was a good thing, and I think it's the right decision because I believe that law was put in place specifically with black men in mind.
Interesting. We only have a minute here till news, traffic, and sports. Is this a significant change or expansion of the Second Amendment?
No, I think it's a clarification. The Second Amendment has been narrowed because the words of it are, shall not be abridged. Like, period, that's it. And so now we've had all these things abridging our rights, but now they're being opened back up. And I think it's high time for it, but I mean, there may be another agenda going on, but we have to use what's happening for our benefit, whatever that is.
Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is a 2A advocate, and he is a civil rights and criminal attorney. We will continue this conversation. The Supreme Court is set to weigh in on automatic, semi-automatic weapons. We'll unbox that, see where we are, what's changed. If you have a question, you're welcome in. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A federal judge has blocked the U.S. Postal Service from enforcing President Trump's executive order restricting mail-in ballots. The ruling expands an earlier decision that applied only to several Democratic-led states, making the injunction nationwide. The lawsuit was brought by the NAACP, which argued the order could undermine voting access ahead of the midterm elections. On this day in history, back in 1964, former President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The new law made it illegal to discriminate against people based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And Phoenix Mercury star Alyssa Thomas says she received death threats after a flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark during a game against the Indiana Fever last week. Thomas is calling on the WNBA to do more to protect players from online harassment. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
PCH is open. Take the 101 freeway to Canaan Road. Malibu is open for business. Enjoy a scenic drive through the mountains and return to the beautiful beach. A beach day is always a better day. It's open and waiting for you.
Sponsored by Recreation Alliance.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The U.S. men's soccer team is in the Sweet 16 of the World Cup for the first time since 2002. They shut out Bosnia 2-0 in Santa Clara to move past the round count of 32. The U.S. plays Belgium Monday night in Seattle. The Dodgers are back in town tonight to start a 10-game homestand. They're coming off a 7-2 road trip. The Dodgers take on San Diego tonight in the first game of a 4-game series. The Padres are 12 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. The Dodgers still have the best record in Major League Baseball at 56-31. On the first day of free agency in the NBA, the Lakers did not waste any time to rebuild their roster after being kicked to the curb by LeBron. The Lakers made a trade for Utah's 7-foot center Walker Kessler and signed 3 veteran forwards as free agents. As for LeBron, NBA sources claim the 23-year veteran is going to take his time before deciding on his new team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Turn the dial to where the truth lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at kbla1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Let's do this.
We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your health care, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen, a lot will change, but one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, so just for the record, I'm wearing my Zanzibar soccer shirt. Zanzibar has never made it into the World Cup. It just so happens to be one of my favorite places in the world. And they are not allowed to participate in the World Cup because FIFA does not recognize the Zanzibar Football Association. Middle finger to FIFA for that. Zanzibar is beautiful. I love it. I'm wearing it anyway because I love Zanzibar. Okay, so we're talking guns. I don't know. Do you have a team, Jaaye? Attorney?
Yes. In the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yes, my team is the Stars and Stripes.
Okay, you're going with U.S. All right. Well, they're doing better than anyone expected. Everyone kind of expected them to be out by now, and they're still standing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, you see it. They still done took the brother out the game on the man. This is cold-blooded what they're doing. But I think we can still hold strong against Belgium and come back and do something. But I will say, I just want to say real quickly, I support that. That is almost the only foreign interaction policy that I support from the U.S. is the soccer team, and I love it because it looks like America.
Yeah, you know, in the Olympics, I mostly root for the U.S. I mean, I root for everybody black, but black people from the U.S. first. And I love watching international competitions because it's always black people from everywhere. It's like, oh, the Swedish team, and they're black. You know, it's the English team, and they're black. At least some of the folks are going to be black. Yeah.
No, I put my flag down in the sand. It was 2006. I was in South Africa. It was during the Germany World Cup. And my roommate was of Ghanaian heritage. The U.S. was playing Ghana in group play to get through the round of 16. And my Ghanaian roommate and my South African friends I made were looking at me like, you going to support the U.S. over an African team, all the stuff they did to your people? And I swear to you, that's the day I realized I was American. Boy, I had tears in my eyes and said, yes. I am supporting the U.S.
Oh, look, I'm going to support the freedmen. I am going to support the free black people of the U.S. every single day. Every single day. Well, they're not playing until Monday. America. They're playing Monday at 5 o'clock Pacific. So we shall see. They've already done way better than anybody thought. I will be supporting Ghana tomorrow, though, when they take on Colombia. And I will also be supporting Cape Verde versus Argentina, even though it's a long shot for them because Argentina has Messi. But look, they only were given a 1% chance of beating Germany, and they did that. So go tiny African nation of Cape Verde.
This is why we play the game.
Right?
This is it. I had my kids at COSM yesterday, and they got to experience. I was hoping the World Cup would help get them excited about soccer. Because, you know, I'm 5'3", their mom is 5'3". So I don't want them playing the sport of giants like I did and hitting that wall. But being in that environment and seeing the goals scored and seeing everybody cheering and high-fiving, I think they really got into it. I was excited for them.
Yeah, well, it's a really fun environment. It's fun to be in Africa, too, when they're playing World Cup games or any soccer games because people, you hear it coming out of every big building, hut, bank, bar. It's
everywhere. South Africa wasn't even in it in 2006.
Right.
And I had no idea the World Cup was even going on, but when I got there and it was, every day was a party. Right. Every restaurant, that's what got me into it.
Yeah. It's internationally, it's a much bigger deal. Yes, and I, you know, get you some spirit. Oh my gosh, LA is all the way in because Mexico broke a 40-year drought, so all the Chicanos and a lot of the Mexican Americans and the Latinos by default are happy as hell because they're further in the tournament than they've been in 40 years, I believe.
Shout out to Mexico and the brother Quinones, I believe it is, that he's down there representing for Mexico. And even though he's Colombian born, he's representing, and Mexico is doing that thing. So the vibe is real. It's especially now with Mexico and the U.S. in it and doing well. It is real in L.A. I am loving this, loving this.
Yeah. It's not too late. You can jump on the bandwagon. Look. And when there's a party going on, you know, why not? You know, why not?
Why not?
We probably will never see the World Cup in the U.S. again in our lifetime. And I kind of hope not because we're terrible hosts. But anyway, Mexico's playing Sunday at 5 against England. So that'll be a big showdown. England's always a big soccer powerhouse.
That's going to be huge. I'm actually going to be at Essence, but I'm going to be watching, guaranteed.
Yeah. And if Mexico wins, either be in the party or stay home because it's going to be wild in the streets. It's going to be wild in
LA. Mexico in the final 8 of the World Cup.
I mean, if they beat England, that alone would be like the new Cinco de Mayo. Forget Cinco de Mayo. It'll be Cinco de Julio from now on.
Oh, man.
Yes, indeed. So, the Supreme Court is now saying, back to guns, that they are going to look at whether or not they want to strike down a ban on semi-automatic rifles, assault weapons in Chicago. This is something similar. They had something like this in Connecticut. They have one in the Chicago area. That's the one that the Supreme Court says they will review. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, they could actually basically give the go-ahead for regular people to own assault rifles, right?
Yes, and I really do dislike that term, and so many people think AR in the AR-15 means assault rifle, but it means the Armalite, which is the brand. But I think it's important for people to understand that the difference between a pistol and a rifle, right? We all see that iconic picture of Malcolm X at the window with the AK, with the banana magazine. And, we like that picture. We put it on T-shirts, we put it on posters. And people need to realize it was legal for Malcolm X at that point, who was a felon, who had been in prison, to have that firearm because it was a long gun. And at that point in history, felons were only prohibited from having concealable weapons. The issue here with the rifles, though, I think people attach them to school shootings so much that they forget that this is the tool of liberty. This is the way that we ensure the people will not be oppressed by the government. Because the government has rifles. The government has a lot of weapons, and it's my opinion that if a civilian police agency is allowed to have this level of weaponry, so should the civilians that they police. That's my particular view. That's where the standards should be. It should be between civilians and military. If you're going to say the military, of course the military can have whatever weapons they can have, but civilians, that's where the issue comes up.
I mean,
and what happened?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just going to say, look, I'm an advocate of the Second Amendment too, but I don't believe that anyone should be able to walk around with a semi-automatic weapon. I don't. I think this is one area where we could limit. We could have reasonable limits. I understand what you're saying. If we allow police agencies to have weapons that civilians don't have, they always will create an advantage. Were we to be in a full-on war, I guess you could say,
police
or
state.
revolution or police state. I understand that argument and I respect that argument, but if it comes down to the military and the police versus the people, we're going to be outgunned anyway. They've got tanks, they've got bombs, they've got rocket launchers. Do you think that average citizens should be able to have rocket launchers?
If the police can have them. I don't have a rocket launcher. I don't, I'm not big on rocket launchers per se, but if the civilian police can have them, then that's what I agree the people should have. And let's be clear, semi-automatic means one trigger pull, one bullet. That's semi-automatic. Automatic, you squeeze that trigger and the gun fires until the magazine is empty. And so every pistol with a magazine is a semi-automatic weapon. Every single one you see on cops. Revolvers are not semi-automatic. I mean, they still one trigger pull, one bullet, but it's about the reload capability.
Right.
That's the real issue. As you know,
what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about assault rifles, and I don't think everyone should have them. I just don't. But I get what you're saying about, civilian police, and you're distinguishing between civilian police and the military, which I wish we would do more of, because the civilian police weaponry seems to be getting more and more militarized with every year.
Oh, it certainly is, and this is part of the results of the crime bill, the '94 crime bill, that effectively militarized the police in a significant way, and which is a reason why I couldn't vote for a particular person in the 2020 election when they ran. But my point is that the
you mean 2016?
Criminal element.
Wasn't that 2016? Anyway, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 2021, 2020, 2024, Biden was president. Right?
Oh, okay, I got you. I thought you meant Hillary. Okay, I got you. That would have been 2008.
That too.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, that too.
I got you. But yeah, point taken. But if they strike down the Chicago law, does that basically effectively would mean that assault rifles or whatever, what is it that you would like us to call them? You don't like calling them assault rifles. What would you like us to call them?
They're just rifles.
Okay.
They're just rifles. They're rifles. If I take a fork and assault you with it, is it an assault fork or is it a fork?
Apparently it's an assault fork. You might get shot. Anyway, that's another conversation.
Yeah, and then don't prohibit those.
So what you're saying, I guess what I'm asking is, what does it change? Because I would imagine they wouldn't be taking this up if they were not planning to strike down this law. They seem to be on a tear as far as expanding and solidifying or redefining, depending on how you want to argue it, the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and I think what it is it got, like, crime in the 90s did get bad. Like, we can't, when you look at the numbers, just in Los Angeles of homicides, I think it was like 92, 93, it got up to like 2,300. For the last decade plus, it's been hovering between like 600 and 700. I think 2020, first year of COVID, it got to 800. But that was the highest it had
You're
been
talking
in
about
a
the
long
county,
time.
because I think in LA City it's more like in the 300, 400 range now.
Yeah, I'm talking about county.
Yeah.
LA County.
Yeah.
And so when you think, like, it still seems like a lot now that we're in the 600-700 range. So you can imagine what it was like when we're talking 2,300. Over 3 times that.
Wild West.
And so and so I understand it. The issue though is that the criminal is not caring at all. So now all we're doing with these restrictions are making the law-abiding citizens targets. And at the same time these restrictions have come, people standing up for themselves and protecting themselves has stopped, and everybody's saying, we'll just call the police. We'll just call the police. Well, these people
Not
could
everybody.
be in, have killed me and left before the police even get here.
Not everybody.
But that is the refrain. Just call the police. Why don't you just call the police? No, you have a right to protect yourself, and our communities were safer. People left their doors unlocked when there was a gun in every house. It's when the guns left the for personal protection. They never left the criminality, and now just call the police, that our communities are much less safe.
I know you're going off your own experience of what, because I don't believe there's any data that shows that we left our doors open or we felt more safe when there was a gun in every home. And I also don't know that there isn't still a gun in every home, or many homes, in our community.
It's much less, but there is data related to when I believe it was 1967, when California's, I don't know why the name of the act, the California Act that went in place is slipping my mind. But basically when the Panthers organized and California changed
Talking
their
about Brady?
laws.
The Brady? Yeah.
No, not Brady. It starts with the M. It's just slipping my mind at the moment. But there is when you look at the numbers of like statewide homicides in from the time, and I have this stat just for this purpose. So it was like 67. California had about 19 million people, and there was 1,039 murders statewide.
Mulford Act.
And
you're
by
talking about.
Mulford Act, yes.
Yeah.
And so by 1980, California had 23 million people, so, about 25% increase. But homicides were up to 3,400 by 1980. And so we do have numbers to show that in that 13-year period, even though the population increased by 25% in the state, homicides increased by over 300% in the state. Murder specifically increased, and violent crime overall from 67 went from 67,446 in 1967 to 210,290 in 1980. So I do think there is numbers there that can support that notion.
And ironically, that the Mulford Act was signed by Governor Reagan in 1967. We will continue.
And supported by the NRA.
And supported by the National Rifle Association. Wildness. That's fear of a black planet. Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is my guest. We'll continue this conversation about how gun laws and how the Constitution is changing under this Supreme Court. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
We got to laugh the pain away.
Join Chris Spencer and Friends live. Chris Spencer and Friends take the stage Sunday, July 12th, 5:30 p.m. at the Alex Theater for Stand Up for Students, a night of comedy benefiting Pasadena Rosebud Academy. Pasadena Rosebud Academy was lost in the Altadena Eaton fire. For over 20 years, they held our kids down. Now it's time for us to hold them up. Chris Spencer and Friends, featuring Reg Thomas, Felicia Folks, Chase Anthony, and Jesus Trejo, with DJ Aisha Irene on the music. One night, big laughs, real community. Join James Farr of KBLA Talk 1580 and be part of a night where laughter meets purpose. Chris Spencer and Friends, Stand Up for Students, Sunday, July 12th at 5:30 p.m. Tickets at the Alex Theater box office and the Alex Theater website at www.thealex.com. TheAlex.com. Chris Spencer and Friends. Don't miss it.
We got to laugh the pain away.
This event is sponsored by Bradlaugh APC.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn is with us. He's a 2A advocate and an attorney in private practice, Hampton man. And you can find him at Lincoln Lawyer LA on Instagram. Where are we now? What's next? What does it mean that, we've seen these back-to-back rulings? It feels like, at least because the Hawaii ruling, although you said it's really not as as dramatic as people are reporting, because an institution can just say no guns for anybody, no guns allowed in this establishment. But it feels like that is an expansion or an affirmation, not just of gun rights, but conceal carry rights. Do you see it that way? And what's next?
Yes and no, because, when you can conceal carry, you can conceal carry. There's certain rules related to, like, I think alcohol consumption and things of that nature. But I think, and just to be clear, there can still be safe zones that they're still prohibited overall, like schools and churches and things like that. So those are still in place. And so I'm not sure there's a whole lot more on that particular issue. It's not like they're about to allow you to have your concealed weapon on a plane. Right, that's not going to happen. There's still rules that you have to follow when flying with firearms, which is lawful. You just have to check it and have it separate from ammunition and all of that. And so I think that's what's most important is for people to realize that this is not going to really impact the illegal firearm use. That's going to be what it's going to be either way. If it does impact it, I think it would reduce it because while you're out there wilding and thinking you're the only big bad guy with a gun, now trained law-abiding citizen over here, you have to think that that's possible, that they're in here with their gun as well. And I got my back to all these people thinking I'm just robbing this store. You're going to have to think twice about that if you're trying to
that's
engage
the good
in
guy
criminal
with the gun
activity.
theory. I don't know that I've ever fully bought that. I really hope they don't arm teachers. But I understand what you're saying. At least you, as a private citizen in an increasingly fascist nation, have the right to have your weapon unless it's prohibited for everybody in a private establishment, and you can have a weapon even if you are a weed smoker. One law professor said it's just an acknowledgement by the Supreme Court that cannabis is the new alcohol.
Yes, that is pretty much what it is. That's a great way to actually assess that, to make people understand that that's what it is like. And so it's important for us to know. And I know that good guy with the gun theory does get attacked and whatnot, but we also have those situations in those churches, like the church in Texas, after the church in Dylan Roof out in South Carolina did what he did, and somebody tried to do it in the church in Texas and got put down because the parishioners were armed themselves. And so we do have, and those may just be anecdotal, right, those separated instances, but it is important that we know. And I think we have to shift the conversation away from just guns are bad to guns are tools, and tools of liberation specifically. I think that's
right.
what I teach my kids about guns.
Got to leave it there. Up against the clock, Attorney Jaaye Person-Lynn, thank you so much for the conversation. It was very interesting for sure.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You as well. News, traffic, and sports. Then Dr. Gerald Horn is here to talk about America 250. That's next.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A federal judge has blocked the U.S. Postal Service from enforcing President Trump's executive order restricting mail-in ballots. The ruling expands an earlier decision that applied only to several Democratic-led states, making the injunction nationwide. The lawsuit was brought by the NAACP, which argued the order could undermine voting access ahead of the